Folks, if you've experienced similar situations or know someone around you who has, write them in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and share to support us for more of these stories. So what if you had to spend 20 hours wounded in freezing cold? This soldier in Alaska showed impossible endurance with shrapnel wounds in Arctic conditions. Medical science couldn't explain this survival. Private First Class Marcus Jackson, 24 years old, came from Billings, Montana. He had served 3 years in the 4th Infantry Division, was an Arctic Warfare School graduate, and a cold weather operations specialist. In February 2023, he was stationed at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Alaska. Jackson was exceptional in terms of physical fitness. He had passed cold weather survival training with maximum score, passed hypothermia resistance tests, and was qualified for extreme condition operations. Coming from Montana gave him an advantage in cold adaptation. February 18, 2023, Arctic training exercise Frozen Thunder began. Realistic combat scenario, minus 40 degrees Celsius temperature, 50 miles per hour. Winds, complete wilderness environment. 72-hour survival mission, limited supplies, extreme weather endurance test. Jackson was part of an 8-man team with squad leader Sergeant Williams. Mission: eliminate enemy position, reach extraction point, minimize hypothermia casualties. Day 1, normal progression. The team advanced through snow-covered terrain, executed tactical movements, successfully managed body heat. Jackson showed excellent performance. Team morale was high. Day 2, 0600 hours, disaster struck. Unexpected development in the training exercise. A real accident occurred during a simulated mortar attack. An explosive training device malfunctioned, scattering actual shrapnel fragments. Jackson received 3 major wounds: deep cut on left thigh, puncture in right shoulder, laceration on forehead. Blood loss was significant, pain intense, mobility severely compromised. The team medic gave immediate aid. Bleeding was controlled, wounds dressed, pain medication administered. But weather conditions were worsening. Temperature dropped to minus 45 degrees Celsius. Wind speed increased to 60 miles per hour. Medical evacuation was requested. But the Arctic storm intensified. Helicopter operations became impossible. Ground transport was unreachable. Medevac was delayed for a minimum of 20 hours. Sergeant Williams made the decision: establish shelter, keep Jackson warm, wait for weather improvement. But shelter materials were limited. Emergency bivouac was constructed. Space for the entire team was insufficient. Critical choice: team survival versus injured member care. Jackson made a selfless decision. Leave me. Take shelter materials for the team. I'll wait here for medevac. Jackson, that's suicide. Hypothermia kills in hours. Sir, team survival is priority. I'll manage. The team was reluctant, but the situation was desperate. Jackson was given the maximum available supplies: sleeping bag, emergency rations, first aid kit, signal flares. 1,400 hours, the team departed. Jackson was alone, severely wounded, Arctic storm intensifying. First challenge: bleeding control. Wounds reopened due to movement. Fresh blood loss occurred. Jackson redressed wounds using torn clothing, applied pressure bandages, managed pain without medication to maintain alertness. Second challenge: hypothermia prevention. Core body temperature was dropping. Extremities were losing sensation. Jackson implemented survival techniques: constant movement of uninjured limbs, breathing exercises, mental focus maintenance. Third challenge: shelter protection. Wind was penetrating the bivouac. Sleeping bag was insufficient for the extreme cold. Jackson used clothing layers, body positioning, heat conservation methods. Hour 2 to 4, Jackson maintained consciousness, managed wound care, conserved energy. Pain levels were extreme, but survivable. Hypothermia symptoms were beginning. Shivering, confusion, lethargy. Hour 5 to 8, critical phase. Core temperature was dropping dangerously. Frostbite was affecting fingers and toes. Jackson forced himself to perform exercises despite wounds, maintained circulation, fought unconsciousness. Mental techniques were crucial. Jackson focused on family memories, survival training recall, positive visualization. Montana winters prepared me for this. Hour 9 to 12. Hallucinations began. Hypothermia was affecting brain function. Reality perception was distorted. Jackson saw family members, heard voices, experienced warm sensations. But survival instincts were stronger. Jackson recognized hypothermia symptoms, fought mental confusion, maintained basic wound care, continued circulation exercises. Hour 13 to 16. Deepest crisis. Blood loss, weakness combined with hypothermia. Body systems were shutting down. Jackson was barely conscious. Motor functions severely impaired. Survival became purely instinctual. Breathing maintenance, basic movement, wound pressure application. Higher brain functions were minimal. Primitive survival mode was activated. Hour 17 to 20. Final endurance test. Jackson's body temperature was critically low. Wounds were still bleeding. Frostbite was extensive. But something extraordinary occurred. Jackson entered a state that medical professionals call metabolic hibernation. Heart rate slowed dramatically. Breathing was minimized. Energy consumption was reduced. His body preserved vital functions while sacrificing non-essential systems. Hour 20. 1,000 hours the next morning. Weather cleared. Helicopter medevac became possible. Search team located Jackson using GPS coordinates and flare signals. The discovery was shocking. Jackson was unconscious, but alive. Core temperature 28 degrees Celsius, normal 37 degrees Celsius, pulse 30 beats per minute, breathing shallow but present. Multiple severe injuries, extensive frostbite, blood loss significant. Immediate medical transport to Anchorage Regional Medical Center. Emergency trauma team prepared for what they thought was a hopeless case. Dr. Patricia Morrison, emergency physician. The patient should be dead. Multiple fatal factors, hypothermia duration, blood loss, injury severity, exposure time. This survival is medically impossible. Jackson underwent 8 hours of surgery, wound repair, blood transfusion, hypothermia treatment, frostbite management. Prognosis was extremely poor, but Jackson responded remarkably. Consciousness returned on day 3. Vital signs stabilized on day 5. Motor functions recovered on day 10. The medical team was amazed. Dr. Morrison, I've never seen hypothermia survival this extreme. 20 hours at minus 45 degrees Celsius with major wounds. Unprecedented. Physical recovery challenges. Left leg muscle damage. Right shoulder mobility limited. Frostbite amputations. 3 fingers, 2 toes. But mental faculties were intact. Survival spirit unbroken. Psychological evaluation revealed extraordinary mental resilience. Jackson described his survival experience. Hour 5. I accepted the possibility of death. Hour 10, I committed to fighting. Hour 15, I entered a trance state. Hour 20, I felt peaceful acceptance. Montana cold weather childhood helped. Mental preparation was crucial. Family motivation was strongest. A military investigation followed. How did Jackson survive impossible conditions? Arctic survival expert. Colonel James Reed, Jackson demonstrated textbook hypothermia management despite severe injuries. Clothing layers, movement maintenance, mental focus, perfect execution. But 20-hour duration with blood loss is unprecedented. This case redefines human endurance limits. Medical research interest was intense. Jackson's blood samples, genetic analysis, physiological studies were conducted. Scientists were searching for survival advantage factors. Dr. Elizabeth Hayes, hypothermia researcher. Jackson shows enhanced cold adaptation genes, superior circulation efficiency, mental resilience extraordinary. This case is valuable for military cold weather training and medical hypothermia treatment protocols. Jackson's recovery continued: physical therapy, wound healing, prosthetic adaptation. Return to duty was approved with limitations. Award ceremony: Purple Heart, Arctic Service Medal, Survival Excellence Award. Jackson was honored as Arctic Warrior. But Jackson remained humble. "I just did what training taught." Survival instincts, never give up attitude. September 2023, Jackson returned to limited duty. Cold weather training instructor, sharing survival experience with new soldiers. Hypothermia kills fast, but human will is stronger. Mental preparation, proper techniques, never surrender hope. Jackson's survival story became a military legend. Arctic Warfare School uses his case study, medical journals published findings, survival manuals were updated. The personal impact was profound. Jackson married his longtime girlfriend, started a family, appreciated life's warmth literally and figuratively. 20 hours changed my perspective completely. Every warm day is a blessing, every family moment precious. Current status: Jackson is serving as Arctic survival instructor at Fort Wainwright, Alaska, training the next generation of cold weather warriors, sharing life-saving knowledge. Legacy: proof that human endurance exceeds medical understanding. Proper training, mental strength, survival instincts can overcome seemingly impossible odds. Jackson's advice: cold weather kills the unprepared. But preparation, knowledge, determination create miracles. The medical community continues studying Jackson's case. Research is contributing to hypothermia treatment advances, cold weather gear improvements, survival training enhancements. Jackson's 20-hour ordeal is now a textbook example: how proper training, mental resilience, survival techniques can defeat nature's deadliest challenges. A Montana boy who conquered Alaska's worst, living proof that the human spirit survives when the body should fail. Forever known as the 20-hour warrior.